Please come back to me, guys. Thank you. Now, the 8th edition of the Nedbank Cup kicks off today with the first round of 32 matches, well, pitting Orlando Pirates, Tornado FC at Orlando Stadium, while Black Aces takes on Maritzburg United at Bombala Stadium. Football meets fashion. Should be interesting. Katrine has all the detail.
Oh yes, thank you, Eben. The Nedbank Cup this year aims to be even bigger and better than before by making the things that really matter happen. Nedbank last year also introduced a new element to the mix, fashion, and gave birth to Football Fan Couture, pairing up with top designers and Football SUPA-Fans to create one-of-a-kind couture outfits. Now, joining us today is Nkosinathi Masiza, the Senior Communications Manager of Nedbank, and from our studio in Cape Town, we're also joined by fashion designer Gavin Raja. Welcome to the show, Gavin. Nkosinathi, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Katrine.
Nkosinathi, I would like to start with you. It was a big, massive launch earlier this week. Just give us the brief lowdown of how it's going to go this year and how are you guys making things bigger and better this year?
So the Nedbank Cup is entering its 8th edition. And now, having learned and taken in the lessons over 7 years of partnering with the PSL, Nedbank is saying, how can we connect even more with our customers, with our communities, and with our football fraternity and demonstrate what it really means to make things happen. So as you've rightfully said, Nedbank is about making things that really matter happen this year. So we've got something for football players, we've got something for fans, we've got something for people who love fashion, we've got something for our communities. All in all, we are saying, how can we partner with our communities and make things that really matter happen for everyone in South Africa?
Now, last year you introduced the whole Football Fan Couture line, where top fashion designers teamed up with the SUPA-Fans. How did it go? I understand it was a massive success. And then on the back of that, how are you making it even bigger and better this year?
Football Fan Couture exceeded our wildest expectations. The collision of football and fashion. Who thought those two worlds could come together? As South Africans, we sometimes separate the two, but the passion of football supporters matched with the designers that we had last year was simply amazing. It is for that reason that this year we've taken it a step further. We're partnering with the likes of Gavin. We're partnering with 15 other designers, 16 SUPA-Fans, as well as 4 design schools, and we're saying, how can the two worlds come together and produce what becomes a national symbol of how two worlds come together and really make things happen?
Well, Gavin, on that note, can you tell us a bit more about your decision to get involved with this campaign? Did you follow the campaign last year as well?
You know, I was very aware of the campaign last year as such, but this year, you know, I was really kind of obviously flattered in terms of being asked for it. But I think more than anything else, I think my interest really is about mentorship, about younger kind of people and their involvement in design and fashion. So for me, that was like a really, really interesting part of things. And the second thing about this was that, you know, I think if you're given the state of like the country and the polemic that exists with like youth, you know, many of the communities around, I think this is kind of something which is, you know, which is really necessary, because I think it's one of those things that actually inspires people. You know, there's one thing about trying to get youth to do things, but there's another thing when one actually takes something of interest to them and actually kind of makes it very relevant and contextualizes a point in terms of fashion. So for me, that was of the greatest interest, I think, in the fact that I was able to contribute in, you know, in kind of like maybe the swell of kind of a positive spirit.
Now, Gavin, how a lot of people will think sport and fashion are complete polar opposites of each other. How, as a designer, do you see it, and can we combine the two?
Well, firstly, the biggest trend at the moment, and one of the biggest trends in fashion at the moment, is about bringing a sport kind of influence into fashion. And it's not a unique kind of thing. It's happened for the last couple of years very successfully. We've had the likes of Alexander McQueen, for instance, like for Puma, Hussein Chalayan, so many designers around the world, Stella McCartney. If you look at just the way things like, for instance, the Olympics, you know, uniforms for various kind of countries have been designed, there's always been a kind of link between a, you know, a designer from that country and creating kind of look and feel. And for me, I think it's a very interesting thing to be involved in fashion at the moment, because it's very utilitarian. And again, for me as a designer who actually deals in very kind of high-end fashion, it also kind of exposes my brand, or takes my brand to kind of an audience which might not necessarily have access to it, but playing in that kind of space as well is there's also kind of a little bit of a relief from being involved in the very serious end of fashion.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much for joining us and talking all about football fan
You're
couture
welcome.
and how we're going to incorporate it. Now, Kosinati, I would just like to end with you. Gavin also spoke about the mentoring of young designers. You also have the Kiona Team Search this year. Tell us a bit more about those programs that you guys plan on incorporating the youth.
So the Nedbank Kiona Team Search is going into its 3rd edition, and it is a call to young men between the ages of 18 and 25 across the country to prove that anyone can be extraordinary when they're given the opportunity. So the entries have opened. People can go across different tryout venues starting in April once the registrations have completed, and they can really get picked up by big selectors, the likes of the Bafana Bafana coach, Shakes Mashaba, and Mike Mangena. And so far, you know, we've got more than 10 players who are now in the PSL. In fact, one of the Kiona players from last year was a captain of the Kiona team last year. This year, he may be playing in the starting lineup for Free State Stars, which is playing in the Nedbank round of 32. So it's really about enabling people to make their goals happen. To Gavin's point, the designers as well. It's about the skills exchange for the fashion designers upcoming, for the super fans who can start making a business of the outfits that they see, like Ubabu Baloyi, whom we worked with last year. So it's a great opportunity for everyone to partner with Nedbank and make their dreams happen.
Well, Kosinati, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Senior communication person from Nedbank, telling us all about the Nedbank Cup launch this year. We are sure to be following it throughout this entire year, so you can keep up to date on Facebook and on Twitter at SABC Newsroom. Well, Evan, back to you.